Hello, I'm Eve, and this is our special guest, Pastor Chris.
How are you?
Today, we're going to be talking about Paul the missionary.
Wait, Paul, was he the one who was also named Saul?
Yep, he had two names.
Two names. Oh yeah, like my name's Chris, but in high school my friends call me Blinky. So I have two names. Wow, just like that.
Just like that.
Okay, cool. So who was Paul then? Was he like Saul? Paul Saul. Paul Saul. Who was he? He was a Paul Saul. A Paul Saul, like an apostle?
Just like an apostle. He was an apostle, a disciple of Jesus. But before that, Saul was a really, really cruel man. It says in the Bible that he was breathing out murderous threats against Christians.
Murderous threats?
Yep, murderous threats. He wanted to put as many Christians as he could in jail, or even worse.
Even worse?
Yep, he was even happy to kill Christians. He hated them and he hated Jesus. In fact, he was on a mission to take as many Christians as he could prisoner. How do you think that made the Christians feel?
Well, scared. Terrified. In fact, what you'd want to do is just like lock yourself in your own home and never go out. Kind of like a lockdown, right? Did he catch many?
Well, that's the amazing part of this story. On his way to a city called Damascus, something happened to Saul that changed his mission.
What happened?
A light from heaven flashed around him, and he was blinded. And he heard a voice say, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" It was Jesus speaking to Saul. Now remember, Saul hated Jesus and anyone who followed Jesus. But Jesus didn't hate Saul. In fact, Jesus loved Saul and was about to give him a second chance and a new mission. Jesus told Saul to go into the city and await further instructions.
He was like a real secret agent.
Agent maybe, but not a secret agent. There was nothing secret about the mission that Jesus was about to give Saul. You see, it says in the Bible that Jesus chose Saul to be the man that would proclaim his name to the Gentiles. Everyone was going to know what Saul was doing.
Wait, who is a Gentile?
The Gentiles are any people who aren't Jews. Up until now, the good news about Jesus was only spreading among the Jews. But Jesus asked Saul to spread the good news beyond Israel into all the countries of the world. And Saul, who was also known as Paul,
who was also known as Saul, because he had like two names, like me.
Yep, Saul is Paul.
And Paul is Saul.
So, Paul visited so many different places, always sharing the good news about Jesus. He also wrote many letters to Christians to encourage them, to instruct them on the right way to live, and to remind them of the amazing work that Jesus has done. In fact, all of these books in the Bible are actually letters that Paul wrote.
Paul was very busy, right? He was so busy, and what's amazing is that he changed so much because he wanted to hurt people, but then after he met Jesus, he didn't want to hurt people anymore. He just wanted to love everyone and then spread the news about Jesus Christ.
Yep, Jesus changed his heart. And you know what I think is amazing? Even when Paul,
or Saul,
was trying to harm the Christians, Jesus didn't give up on him. He knew that he had chosen Paul to spread the gospel and was ready to give him a second chance. Jesus had an amazing plan for Paul. And you know what? Jesus has an amazing plan for you too.
We can be like secret agents too.
Well, not secret agents. Jesus doesn't want us to keep it a secret. He wants us to tell everyone about his love for us, that he rose from the dead, and that he wants us all to be a part of his family.
Yeah, you know what? you can read about Paul too. He's in the Bible. What Eve shared about today is actually in Acts chapter 9. Maybe you could read that with your family.
And if you're trying to think of something to do during lockdown this week, maybe you could write a letter to encourage someone, just like Paul did.
I love letters.
You could even make your own mailbox and give letters to people in your family.
I already have one for you, Eve.
Oh, thank you.
I'll just put it in there.
Can't wait to read it. Next week, we're going to look at another of Paul's adventures as a missionary for Jesus. But in the meantime, we hope you guys have a great week. Kids of Wyndham City Church, be blessed. And remember, Jesus has an exciting plan for your life too. Catch you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.